How's it going, everybody? It's a Sketch Monkey here with a brand new sketching video for you. And in this video, I started sketching this car, and it turned out to be, it looked like crap quite a while into the sketch, and I just wanted to take the paper and rip it up. You know, I say adjust as you go, and I thought I can't say to other people to adjust as you go and try to fix the sketch if I don't do it myself. So I decided to stick with it and just try to finish the sketch as best as I can. And this is the result. So I'm just gonna narrate over the video and try to explain to you guys what I was thinking, what kind of tools I was using, and maybe you can go along in the video and sketch a car yourself while we do this. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright guys, let's get started. So as usual, I am using my big pen, and this is not marker paper. This is Strathmore sketchbook. It's kind of a heavier type paper, but it works good with markers as well because it sucks up the markers really well, which it's the problem I have with marker paper, is that it's too glossy and you know, the markers really doesn't stick on it. So right now I'm just trying to find the proportions of this Firebird right here, adding some lines and just to try to get the overall shape of it and perspective and all of that good stuff down. I wasn't really planning on sketching anything in particular, but then I saw this Firebird online when I was Googling muscle cars just for fun, and I thought, hey, I'm gonna have to sketch this car, so that's what I did. And if you hear that in the background, that is my cat taking a dump at the moment. And just yeah, if you have a cat, you know that they do that after they do their thing, we can say. But as you can see here, the rear wheel is a bit off. And the thing is, every time I start a sketch like this, it usually a lot of things are off in the beginning when I start, and then I just fix them as I go along. But the problem I had with this sketch, or one mistake that I did, was that I didn't stop to check my angles and perspective from a different point of view. So I always kept my, you know, when you're sketching, your head is kind of on the left side if you're a right-hand sketcher. So you're looking at it from a slightly tilted left side view, which is going to skew the perspective. And now when I look at it from the top view, I can see that if I just had paused for a second and looked at it straight from the top, I could see that the rear wheel here is not really correct in perspective. But it's not a big deal. The thing with this sketch is to just have some fun and add some markers to this later on. And I'm starting to add some line weight already now. You can do that if you want to, but the problem, as I'm sure you know, is that when you add markers on top of big lines, the lines tend to make a mess. So you kind of want to go easy, or you can even start with a pencil. If you like pencil sketches, go ahead and start with a pencil and just put down the main features and stuff of your sketch, and then go from there, because that's not going to mess up the sketch as much as big pen lines would. So as you can see, I'm still working on the big pens here. Not a lot of things change when you do this. It's just to add the lines down basically and get an idea of where you want to put the markers. Also keep the light source in mind here, but you know, I have a reference picture on my screen right in front of me, so I kind of know where the markers will go, even though I don't have to really think about the light source because it's already there on the image. But most especially car photos and images, they usually have the light source at the same spot, which is basically straight from the top, and you're gonna have the horizon line reflected in the side, which is standard stuff. And if you keep it on the same spot all the time, you make it a lot easier for yourself to sketch cars, because you're always going to have the reflections on basically the same spots all the time. So right now, jumping into markers, and I'm starting, usually I like to start with the light shades, but this time I just went ahead and went a little bit crazy and started with pretty much the darkest tone that I'm going to use in this sketch. because I was so confident with the reflections here because I had a guide in front of me. So I thought, you know, doesn't really matter if the photo looks like this, then I'm sure that's the correct way to put the marker. So that's why I started with the darker shade this time. And these are obviously alcohol-based markers. And I get a lot of questions about them. Actually, the next couple of videos, or within the next 5 coming videos, I'm gonna make reviews of some markers that I just got that I've never tried before, and I haven't even opened the package. So I'm gonna do that first thing in the review videos. And I have the feeling that and these are alcohol-based markers, they're not as expensive as Copic markers. And I have a feeling as long as the markers are alcohol-based, you're all good. You don't have to worry about the brand or whatever, because it really doesn't matter. All you want to do is to have alcohol-based for the simple fact that they are easy to blend. Other than that, it doesn't really matter what kind of brand you're using. So that was the first layer of markers, and now I'm gonna go into I think this is the first one was a Cool Gray 9, I know that. I think this is a Cool Gray 7, I'm pretty sure about that. Because there were some parts that there are too much white in the car at the moment, and I needed to fill that out with something that's not as dark as a Cool Gray 9. So I just decided to go with a Cool Gray 7 to fill those areas out. And if you keep it like this, I mean, it looks like a chrome car right now. So it all depends on how far you want to take the sketch. And here I'm adding a really, really light blue tone. It's like a blue-gray 2 or 3 or something like that. Just to give a hint of blue because the sky is blue. And obviously all the surfaces that are facing up would have a slight tone of blue, especially if it's shiny metal. So that's what I'm doing right here. And you can see that little touch there. I think it made a big difference. I still wasn't really happy with the tone of blue. I wanted some more saturation on those parts, so I just added a second blue there, which you can see has a bit more of color to it. This, I believe, is a Cool Gray 4, maybe 4 or 5 or something like that. It doesn't really matter, but it's a Cool Gray, and I'm adding those the Cool Gray 4 to the parts that are, you know, not as dark as the Cool Gray 7 or the Cool Gray 9. Filling in the wheels just like that, and you know how much I love to sketch wheels. Wheels they just take a lot of time to sketch, and usually I don't have the patience to just spend half of the time it takes to sketch a car on the wheels. So I try to always find shortcuts to sketch wheels, and I'm gonna show you a shortcut here in a while. What I did with these wheels, just not spend too much time on them. So now I'm really thinking about how am I gonna do the wheels. But I still need to think a little bit longer, so I just added another another layer of markers to just get some more depth into these reflections. And at the same time, I'm still right now thinking about how to do the wheels and how to kind of shortcut the creation of them. So you're gonna see now, I'm just gonna fill them in with, this is a green gray 9, I think it was. Because I wanted to have the wheels just a bit different shade than the rest of the body, even though it's a tiny, you can see a hint of green in it. And I think that's exactly what I wanted, just a slightly bit different type of gray to have them separated from the rest of the car. And if you want, you can go in and use full black as well. I think that's a good idea, especially if you're sketching on a white paper. You kind of want to have the both extremes. So you want to have surfaces on the product or thing that you're sketching. You want to have some parts that are 100% white, and you also want to have some parts that are completely black, because that's going to give you the depth that I see a lot of sketches miss out on this, because it can be kind of not scary, but you know, go all with 100% black. It's gonna really add contrast to your sketches, but if you make mistakes, it can be hard to kind of fix those mistakes because it's black, so you kind of need some serious white ink to go over that again. But try it out next time to have both white and black in your sketches, and I think your sketch is gonna pop a lot more. This is basically, I think this is one of my favorite what's it called? Favorite parts of sketching is going in and really touching up all the reflections and add the shininess to the reflections. And you do that by just adding some random lines inside of the already made reflections. That's what I did there. And now basically going into details, I didn't want to have the side window be all white because it's just too white for me. I wanted to have it show that it's actually a window reflecting the sky. So I added a cool gray, I think it was a cool gray 1 or 2, just to get some tone in there. I rarely use pencils, but this white pencil is basically the only pencil that I use because it's really good for tires. You don't want to use a white ink pen for tires because tires are not shiny unless they're, recently detailed or something, but normally they're kind of matte, so that's where you want to use a white pencil to just add some reflections, I guess, to the tires and not have it be completely all white. You want to use the white though on the rims. Later on I'm going to show you how to do that. I still haven't figured out the rims here, so I'm still thinking about that, how to do them. I kind of got the depth in there now, and later I just need to add the spokes, and that's super simple. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute, but first we're going to go in with the white ink. And this is the pen that's completely white. I love this pen. It gives really good highlights. And you can find it, all the tools that I'm using, you can find it in the description below. In the video description, you can get them there. This pen, I would say, is a must if you're sketching with markers because it just makes everything pop really nicely, and you can really define the reflections as well. So with a big pen, I made a couple of mistakes on this front fender, so I'm trying to lower the fender now. I added some dark marker to it, but as you can see, it turned out okay, just to add some white ink on top of the markers. You can fix it like that, and that's what I'm saying. You can always go back and fix something, even if it's all black marker. It can be tricky sometimes, but experiment with things, and if you make mistakes, it's actually a really good way to learn how to sketch in general. It's just to make mistakes and then go ahead and try to fix them somehow. And we gotta have the rims shiny like that, so I'm adding some burn points to the rims, and also all around the shiny parts of the car and the reflections. So now I just have to face my challenge here that I've been putting off for this entire time, which are the wheels. I think that's what I'm gonna do next. So I'm just using I'm go back to the cool gray 9 marker, and I'm just placing out the spokes like this, and then I'm just gonna worry about defining them later. But first of all, I want to get the idea of where the spokes are going to go. And the spokes, the rims are obviously black, so that makes the whole thing a lot easier. Which is why I just went into with the cool gray 9 to add the rims like that, or the spokes. And I want it to be a two-part rim, so I'm adding these bolts on the inside behind the spokes like that with a white Uni Posca pen. And I can stop right here with the rim if I wanted to. You can still kind of see the design of the rim, and you can see the shape of it, the each spoke, since I'm adding some highlights to it. But I just went in with a white pen to add some more reflections to it and just to define it just a little bit more. So we're pretty much done here. I'm just adding some final touches to this sketch. So I added some cool gray 7 to that, and still defining the wheels. The wheels, as I said, they're the ones that take the longest time usually. And once you're done with all of these things, you have the highlights, you've done the markers, you've done the white pencil and everything. The lines can be messy sometimes because you've gone over them so many times. So what I like to do on every single sketch, especially marker sketches, is to, as a final touch, just go back in with a big pen and clean up the lines and define all the details that's been blurred out by the markers of the white pen. And that way it's just going to give some extra crispness to your sketch. And you can obviously also go in and line shade with the big pen if you want to do that. I like to do that because it gives some more sketchiness to the design, to the sketch, just to add some big lines and just line shade a few areas of the sketch. I don't like things to be, you know, super clean. I want it to be a little bit dirty and be more like a sketch than an illustration. That's just my style, and I do that by adding these extra lines and stuff. Using a fine liner now to just add the 100% black parts of the sketch to get that contrast that I was talking about earlier. So now we have surfaces on the sketch that are 100% white using the white ink, and we have surfaces that are 100% black as well, and that's going to give that nice contrast to everything. So that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of this 1970 Firebird. I had a lot of fun sketching it, and I hope you had just as fun watching it being done. And hopefully you sketch something yourself in the meantime here. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that beautiful thumbs up like button. That means a lot to me. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, feel free to do so, because I'm gonna drop new videos every single week on this channel. I hope to see you next time. I'm the Sketch Monkey, and take it easy, guys.